What is going on, guys? Touch and base. We are going to introduce the cross contour hand project. We're not going to show a finished product yet, but we're going to start with a blank white sheet of paper. If you do not have blank white paper yet, please wait on starting this project. This is where we're actually going to get into needing some blank paper. If you have to start writing on the back of a piece of mail or something like that, that's a possibility. We're going to start by tracing our hand. We want our hand pretty close to the top of the paper. It does not matter whether your paper is vertical or horizontal, as long as we're about 2 inches away. We're also going to have to trace our wrist. You want this pencil to be straight up and down. You do not want to undercut your hand. That's going to give you weird, weak little wrist. It's going to look like there's a bone, going to cut your finger off. It is not going to look good. Basically, you want to be rubbing against your skin right here, and we want the pencil straight up and down. I'm going to attempt to keep this as straight up and down as possible while I work my way around my hand, trying to keep on touching the entire time. You might think it's weird to keep it up and down because most people weren't taught to trace like this, but this is actually going to give us the best possible end result. Like I said, we're doing the entire wrist. Pretty good. Good, not great. The next thing that we would like to do is take a ruler. If you do not have a ruler in your house, the other possibility is taking the second sheet of paper, and you can see when I put down my pinky finger, it's roughly half of an inch. So we could start on the edge of the paper and do half an inch like this. Go all the way down this sheet of paper with our pinky. It doesn't need to be exact. It can't be exact because we do not have a ruler to measure with. So this is on a second sheet of paper on the edge. Then we would take that sheet and butt it up end to end. Be sure that you're starting right at the bottom part. We basically need to make sure the left and right side have the same measurement across. We can just make little ticks. We're not going to flip this upside down when we do the other side. We're going to keep the same orientation. So when we do the second side, we're not picking up or flipping around to any of this paper. We are merely shoving it over to the other side, doing the same exact thing again. So there's barely any overlap. I don't know if you guys can see that. Just like the tip of a pencil. And then you don't have to work as fast as I do. I've done this a lot of times. In fact, you're probably going to be going a little bit slower than me. We are just doing the initial setup this week. So we have 2 ticks on each side. Then we can take a ruler and go from side to side. Or if we don't have a ruler, we can just use that second piece of paper method again. So take our second piece of paper, and when we are tracing from one side to the other, we are trying to make a horizontal line that's side to side, it should be parallel to the bottom of your piece of paper. We are not going to write on the hand, so we're going to leave what's called a negative space where the hand is. So when you get to that wrist, stop drawing. When you get to that hand, stop drawing. I started horizontal with that. It's probably easier to just use your longer section of paper to trace. Remember, if you have pencil on the back of this paper, it might actually end up bleeding a little bit. So if possible, you want to use a clean sheet of paper. And it's not as easy to trace paper as it is when you have a ruler. When you have a ruler, you can just line it up, go a little bit quicker. Last week I was saying don't use a ruler to draw your lines. I really like natural lines. Here, the opposite is true. Since we're going to do something a little more natural on that hand, we really want to have straight, measured lines on the outside of the hand. It's going to make the hand itself and the wrist pop a little more. So basically, we're going to do this all the way to the top. Notice that my lines are nice and parallel with the bottom of the page. And they're fairly evenly spaced. And they're evenly spaced even though we did not use a ruler. We just used a pinky and a second sheet of paper to make those measurements. Start at the bottom and just mark that off all the way up to the top. I'd like you to complete this, go all the way to the top, leave the hand completely blank. We are going to combine line, shape, and a little bit of value and color in the future on this sheet of paper. So you need to save this, take a picture. I want to see your progress on it. Have a good weekend. Watch some football, guys. Go Chiefs.